It has been a long day binging. It may not even be the same day, but not long ago, the realization became inescapable that the term rot gut is based in truth. And the intense hammering in your skull, the twisting of your guts, the distortion of sense, wavering of vision, unpredictability of emotion, loss of balance, and the almost looseness of your skin are all telling you beyond the shadow of a doubt that you have consumed too much, and not long ago you've consumed something which might kill. Tiny, crowded, noisy, smoky, dirty speakeasy. The walls seem to be closing in and distorting and bulging around you. Faces that were smiling are leering. People that were having a private conversation over here now seem to be looming over you. It's too hot. It smells too bad.
I have been paying as I go because my ability to run a tab has not been allowed anymore. I'm going to try to keep my shit together. I'm going to stand up. I was drinking by myself. I think I've stopped drinking. I think as soon as this started, I kind of you know, want to give myself a little bit of time. Hopefully, it passes so I can get back to what I enjoy doing. But that I'm now realizing that's not the case. This is not going away. It's just getting worse. The right side of my brain is putting that together. The symptoms I completely recognize. I know I'm in a chemical problem right now. And this is not just too much. I'm going to do my best to stand up, put on my long jacket, leave without making any type of a scene or getting any more attention on me. And Anthony, part of me knows these feelings that I'm having are not reality. I understand what's happening to me and I understand what it does to the mind, right? That doesn't make it any less real from an experiential standpoint, but that's that left, different parts of my brain are battling right now as I'm trying to piece this together. I need to get outside. I need to get some fresh air. I'm suffocating right now. And my hope is that the cold November air, when I get outside, is going to slap me in the face a little bit. And then I'm going to be able to realize, do I need to go home or do I need to go to the hospital? Do I need to get myself to the hospital? So that's what I'm trying to do, but I'm trying to do it in a way that I'm staying. I don't want to make a scene. So I'm trying to slowly pick up my coat, put it on me, put on my hat, and try to, with some level of dignity, get out of here.
Sleeve. It seems to be impossible, like someone has sewn it shut. Hat mostly on your head, but the getting the arm in the sleeve and the narrow passage out of here to the door with the guard who lets people in with the passcode. It seems to be getting smaller and smaller, and walking down it, it's brushing this shoulder and this shoulder and the coat, and getting the coat on. And as he's standing there at the door, he's saying something, but it just doesn't make sense. The words don't make sense, but the shooting of the bolt echoes through your head, and then the cold blast of air with that sharp hint of ice slaps you in the face. Just for a moment, everything makes sense.
Yep.
But unhelpfully, a big, meaty hand propels you into the street.
Um, yeah, I've fallen to my hands and knees, and pick up my hat, trying to piece up. I'm hoping that this moment of clarity from just again the change of environment is going to be able to. I need to know. I need to make a decision right now, and that is: do I go left and work my way back to the house, or do I need to call a cab and get to the hospital? Is this just going to be a long 2 days of puking and laying in bed and sweating, um, getting a little bit of a nip here and there so I don't go into withdrawals through that? Or do I need to get to the hospital? And being an addict, I think that's part of my calculus too, because if I go to the hospital, I will not be drinking. So I am going to go through that as well. I think that's weighing. So I really want to just go home. But because of my medical background and everything, I understand that I also don't want to go home and die. So that's what's happening right now, Anthony. Is I'm trying to make the decision.
Right.
And I don't know
And
if I've got more information to work from. Yeah.
that decision is trapped in the circle, right? It's been established. These can I, should I could, it's just, you know, and on hands and knees, right? In the cold, there's that beginning of convulsions, right? The vomiting. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe that would be a good thing. Maybe we could
Yeah.
get some of it out.
Yep.
But maybe not here. Maybe not in front of the door.
Yeah.
But maybe right here in front of the door. So this is the state of mind, right?
I'm going to try to find.
Plenty of
I want to.
options.
I want to get right off the street. I want to get into an alleyway. This actually could be great. If I can just get this out of me, it's possible I have not absorbed enough of it that, I just need to purge. And believe it or not, I could potentially feel a lot better. Honestly, if I don't, Anthony, then I think that answers my question that I need to go to the hospital.
Right.
So yeah, I'm going to get up as best as I can, find the closest alleyway where I'm off the streets. I don't want to puke in front of a bunch of people. And I'm just going to lean up against a brick wall, hopefully, and just let my body do what it needs to do.
Okay. So stumbling through the darkness, stumbling down the street, heading toward, there's an alley. There's an alley. Overhead, there is this beautiful spray of stars in a midnight blue sky. The sun has set, right? The sky is deepening, but just this graceful arc of stars. And then the garbage, wooden slats of some broken wooden frame tangle up in your feet and send you careening into the wall. And staggering, you're on a street you don't recognize.
Okay.
Dark street. There's street lamps, but they're not lit. The other side of the street facing you, there are blank windows, some with faded business signs, clearly out of business and have been out of business. The side of the street you're on looks like tenement housing, but again, the windows are dark, doors closed. And from the sky, and from inside your mind, is a brilliant flash of light.
November 1931 has a lot of people foolishly asking how it could get any worse. It's like they don't realize that the world is just waiting for some idiot to ask so it can show them just how much and in how many ways. Night after night, they skulk around or they brazenly saunter into the same speakeasies and body houses to distract themselves from the pain they are feeling and the fear that never lets them forget how precarious their particular ledge is, but still they ask. But there is a worse kind. Life can always make things worse, remember. The worst kind lives at the bottom of a rot-gut barrel and rolls and ruts in the bloody sawdust of cheap gin joints with their mouths shut, their eyes closed, and their wallets bulging with bills, feeding the chaos while crying crocodile tears over the milk they are spilling.
It takes over all my senses. I don't see anything. Does it last long?
Like being photographed.
Okay.
Blobs of green and
Okay.
orange.
I don't know how the hell
Someone
I
is
ended up
coming
here.
up behind you. Someone who's dragging something.
All right, I need to get out of their way and out of the way, and I need to figure out how I ended up here. I'm trying to pull myself off the street. I'm trying to find just a shadow,
There's a doorway.
a corner. All right, that's fine. That's where I'm going. I don't know. Shit's worse than I realize. Like, because I'm never in this part of town. I've never been here. I've never seen this before. I've lost time now. So I've been walking probably a lot longer than I realized. Physically, do I feel like did I at some point get sick, or is there anything telling me that happened? Or
The front of you is quite wet.
okay, all right. I'm just I want to get out of here. I need to figure out what the hell is going on. So I'm going to that door.
Okay. It's down a flight of stairs. And so your feet are suddenly have nothing to stand on, but you're still somehow agile enough to catapult off the bottom of the stairs and into the door, which flies open. And heat, real warm, welcoming heat comes blasting out into your face, and lights and sultry, low sound of a singer. The hallway is narrow. The walls are just cheap board walls, and there are paper flyers for fights and for work and for musicians everywhere, many of them scattered across the floor, and today's papers and yesterday's papers and last year's papers are scattered. They're underneath your knees and underneath your hands, right, with all the dirt and detritus from people's shoes, but this smoky song in this smoky, dark room, which only has light, probably just one stage light, but you can't quite see the stage. It's off around the corner at the end of the hallway, but also screened by bodies which are standing and swaying in rapt attention as that sultry horn gives way to a lonely, singular piano before the singer begins to lift you with ugly words about an ugly time.
What can I pick up from the people? How are they dressed? Is this my surroundings tell me this is not the type of speakeasy that I tend to frequent. I've never been here before. This is I want to get a sense of this. Is this a class of people that fits the decor? Is it descript enough? Can I take that in?
This is the world. There are finely cut hats, which you can see in silhouette against that lone blue-white stage light. Fine cut of coat, and from your vantage point, fantastic shoes.
Okay.
Standing next to an obvious worker in muddy boots and heavy dungarees, and a ragged coat, standing next to a flapper in glittering jewelry and fur coat, probably not a flapper anymore, an aging flapper with memories of dance halls past. Just those three bodies that you can see clearly at the end of the hallway show you this is humanity brought together for its singular, unifying, primal needs.
If I didn't think I was going to stand out, if this was a lower end speakeasy, I probably would want to go in. But I'm also know that I probably don't look great. I probably have puke on my shirt. I don't think I want to be here. I think I've got drink at home. And whatever it was behind me that maybe rushed to the street, I'm sure that's gone past. So I'm gonna get up and I am trying to be as dignified as I can. But I know it's a farce. But it's in my head that I am Dr. Edward Call, and damn it, this is not how I want people seeing me. This is where I am in my life right now, and I don't need anybody to see this. So if I don't have that awful sicky feeling that told me that I could die, if I'm not feeling that right now, then I'm going to get out of here and I need to get home. I need to clean myself up. I need to get some sleep. And I got some assessing of my life to do because I don't know if I've hit this far down yet. But this is where I've been headed for a while.
Okay. See if you can push through to make that decision stick. If you could roll percentile for
Yep.
me.
Look at that, 18.
Okay. It's still not easy. The world keeps slipping away off to one side, like someone has been given both a lever and a place to stand, and they're liberally applying it to the earth because nothing is standing stable for you. But as you come up off the floor, right, newspaper stuck to one hand. As you get yourself up, your view is of the floor.
Mhm.
Right? Trying to find that point of stability. You can't look forward because that the people swaying is making the light play everywhere and no sense of stability there. So the floor is the only safe place. And a ripped front page from the Boston Post is there at your foot. And there's no way you can read it. And the photograph above the fold is just a black blotch, right, conveying no detail. But the headline that you can read is just 2 words in massive print that completely fills the entire masthead and just says mob massacre.
Okay.
And underneath that is the date, which your mind wants to reject because it's next week.
Okay. And I think I kind of do. I don't see where I've not lost a week. I've lost time. I haven't lost a week. I don't know what that is. I'll sort that out later. When you've drank this much and when the world starts tilting, when you've had this much to drink, where I find myself is I need to find one thing. I need to focus on one thing and I need to stay there, because if I try to do more than one thing, it all becomes too much. So I'm going to my right foot in front of my left foot in front of my right foot, my hand on the wall. And I'm doing everything I can to just put one foot in front of the other and get out of here. And other thoughts start popping into my head, like, what the hell's up with that? Like, what's going on here? And did you like, and my drunk mind, like, oh, I don't have time for that right now. We need to put one foot in front of the other foot in front of the other foot. And it's that drunk focus of when I drink, I get past a point where I'm very self-aware of how much I've drank, and the fact that what I'm experiencing is chemically induced, and it's not fun anymore. And I need to extricate myself and get by myself and get past this. And the only way I can do that is to focus. And I can only focus on one small thing. And that's what I'm doing. Hand on the wall, trying not to push anybody around, trying not to make it, again, as much dignity as a guy who has newspaper stuck to his knees and puke on his shirt. Left foot in front of the right foot, left foot in front of the right foot.
Okay. It takes time,
Mm-hmm.
but you make it out into the street.
Same. I'm not familiar with this. It's where I left it.
Definitely doesn't look familiar.
Any
But
traffic?
it has to be a better class of neighborhood, because the cars are incredible.
Okay. Are the lights back on? Or is it still dark?
It's almost dawn.
Okay, shit. Okay. Street sign. Is there a corner close?
Yeah, just up ahead. You can hear the sound of the trolley
Okay.
coming, and deliveries and newspaper boys, and they're all swimming into focus.
Okay.
And that first wave of workers that go to work at first light, and the shift workers who come home with the rising of the sun, right? The city is coming to life.
I've seen this happen. many a morning of me stumbling out of a speakeasy, wrapping up the night, and gonna sleep the day off. I don't think I can walk home because I don't know exactly where I am. So I want to find a street sign to see if I can get any sense of orientation, some familiarity. Then I'm going to figure things out.
Yeah. You are just a few blocks from the speakeasy you remember.
Okay.
So you're not that far
good.
from home.
Okay.
But the neighborhood's changed since the last time you really paid attention to it, I guess.
Yeah. And I think if my mind was in a better place, Anthony, I think that would blow me away, right? Like that would really freak me out. But I mean, and I don't know, I don't have a better word for that feeling, but anybody who's drank too much knows what I'm talking about. It's that drunk focus where you're just like, I'm doing
home.
one thing. I've got to get home. I will sort
So
everything out later.
There's a line of cabs. Like I said, the trolley is coming. There are multiple ways.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what's been happening to me, so I'm going to make sure I've got I got my wallet on me.
Still do. Yes.
Okay, pull my wallet out, make sure I've got cash for a cab.
Still some.
Okay. All right, that's good. So flag, just stand there and just kind of give the flag one of these cabs that are in the line. Right. Try to get their attention, walk towards the line of cabs.
Sure. Well, there's, as you can imagine, there's not a lot of, it's like, oh, you know. But one man takes pity. It's all right. All right, young fellow. Come on.
Thanks, friend. Rough night.
Sit up here in the front with me.
Oh. I'm going to lay down in the back, if that's all right, sir.
I would like to let you lay down, but then I got to carry other passengers later. So if you just sit up in front.
No, that's fair. That's fair. You can see the worst of it's past me. So I think your cab will be fine. You just want to roll the windows down probably after you drop me off. A 14 height, 18 Hemsworth.
Okay. All right.
I'm just going to kind of close my eyes.
Close your eyes. Yeah. Put your head up against the, there you go.
Against the window.
Okay. Okay. I'll drive nice and slow.
Yeah. Good.
Now this car is comfortable. The seats are soft. It's like a sofa.
It doesn't feel like the bottom of a speakeasy hallway.
Oh, but it's the warmth inside the car.
I don't have to think about walking.
No. So just passing by the streets, interesting clothes and interesting colors, you know, the vegetable stands opening, deliveries being made, all those things. And he pulls you up to, well, let's be honest, he pulls you up to the manor.
Mm-hmm.
Is really, this place?
Yeah, friend. Yeah. How much?
So he ventures a price which is about 3 times more than what you're expecting.
Yeah, and I'm fine. If assuming I have the cash, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, it's going to clean you out, but
yeah. And you know, I'm being taken advantage of, but now I'm home. Thank you, friend. Sorry.
You're sure this is the place?
Yeah. I'm fine. I'm good. Okay. Here. Thank you.
He gives you your change.
No. Thank you. So I kind of push it back. I don't take it from him.
Thank you very much, sir.
I'm gonna roll out of the car. Did I come home? Was there staff when I came home, or was the house empty? Mom had already been.
Yeah, the house was empty. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's probably better. And I haven't hired anybody. I don't know if I can afford it. I got to let this run as long as I can.
It would definitely cut in on your entertainment.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's get it. Let's get inside.
All the way around the property, of course, this nice brick fence with
Yep.
iron topped persuasion not to climb over. And then you're making your way toward the gate where the foreclosure sign is.
All right. So I know I've been late. We've gotten close to this a couple times this year. I think there might have been a telegram, saying like last chance. Had like 3 or 4 days though to take care of that. Yeah, is it on the gate, the sign?
It's just very neatly, where the address plate and the family name used to be next to the gate. The sign is very neatly appended there. For those interested in buying the property, please, contact this number. And
I'm going to try to take the sign down.
It's easy enough to remove.
Yeah, rip that thing off. I'll sort through this tomorrow or today when I don't know. Get my keys and head in.
Keys work. There's leaves and paper and detritus all behind the gate, but you can get it pushed open and staggering up the path. Everything's overgrown. The flowers are all dead. It's November, but no one's dealt with the flower beds. Up the stairs, and there's 2 weathered junk 2x4s that have been hastily nailed up over the door in an X.
All right, I'm going to try to sit down on the stoop. Kind of look at a modest little front yard between the gate and where I am. What did it look like when I left?
It didn't have 2x4s nailed across the.
No, I know, but like, was it overgrown? Had I let the place go? Now I'm home, and now I need to figure out this time shit, right? Like, how much time have I lost? So I think the first place I'm looking is the yard. I have not been taking care of it, but did I leave this morning to start my drink day like this?
There's the indignant side that comes like, no, but then there's the practical side, which is, well, obviously, yes. But whoever dumped the garbage in front of your gate, bills, fly bills, papers, advertising, circulars, newspapers, whoever dumped all that stuff there, that definitely wasn't there because you didn't step up.
Yeah.
It's like years worth of junk.
I've lost more than a day. Lost more than a couple hours. Thinking about the headline. Maybe I've lost a week. I'm looking down at myself and, Jesus, maybe like I didn't go somewhere where I was taking care, so I didn't go to the hospital and lose time there because I wouldn't look like this. I could not have passed out in an alleyway for a week. Who's the most familiar person close to me? Is there a shop owner, a bakery, a deli, someplace that knows me?
These are good questions. Who does know you?
Yeah.
Who still wants to talk to you?
Yeah, I think at the corner store, they've got really bad coffee that does exactly what I needed to do. So usually after
50% punishment, 50% wake up.
Yeah, I deserve this coffee. I want to go there. I'm really embarrassed though, so I'm going to take my long jacket and kind of bundle myself up to try to cover things. I'm, trying to clean myself up as much as possible. Maybe trying to look in maybe one of the windows to see what I look like.
The 2x4s don't prevent access to the house, you realize.
Okay.
Door opens inward. So you could just
Okay.
duck underneath them.
Oh, I'm struggling. Because that I have a sense there's a level of reality of where I am in my life that's on the other side of that door. But I also, yeah, I got to go in. Even if I just need to find a sink and a shower and a change of clothes.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, God, this is embarrassing. I'm gonna push the door open, and like a child, like crawl under the X of these boards and get inside.
Okay. The house is empty. No furniture. There are drop cloths scattered around that probably were dust cloths over furniture at one point in time. Even the carpets have been taken up, exposing the floorboards beneath, and it just smells disused.
Mm-hmm. I want water, running water. So whatever's closer, a bathroom or the kitchen.
Bathroom, sure.
Okay, let's go to the bathroom. Turn the water. Look in the mirror first. What do I see?
Oh. Well, to speak to the question of lost time, you don't have a beard.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you've got
Same
visible
kind of
stubble.
right, which I would have had at this time of day anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. Your shirt, apart from the unfortunate introduction to your last meal, the collar's still relatively starchy. There's not a lot of dirt or filth except where you came into contact with the ground.
I can explain it all. Yep. Okay, that's good. Turn the water on. Really hoping it comes out.
There's a lot of banging, and then it starts.
Okay.
No hot water.
That's fine. I don't deserve hot water. I'm gonna cut my hands, just clean my face, clean the hair. Yeah, change of clothes aren't gonna happen because I'm sure the upstairs looks a lot like this. Yeah, it's possible things were worse and maybe I I lie to myself a lot, and who knows, maybe I've been gone a day and they just swooped in here and shut it all down. Um, trying to look as presentable as I can. I'm not gonna be able to change my clothes, so I'm gonna keep the jacket covering my filth. And I need to talk to somebody. I need to make contact with somebody to sort this out. And figure out, is this really like what the hell's going on here? So yeah, I want to go back. I'm now okay. I'm gonna crawl out of my own home and try to head to that corner store. And do I have a couple coins in my pocket for coffee?
Yeah, I certainly have enough for a cup of coffee. I mean, most of your bills went to the cabbie.
Yeah.
But
So yeah, I'm just gonna go to Jenkins, get a cup of coffee, and probably sound like an idiot with the questions I'm gonna ask him.
all right. Well, the corner store is where you left it, and You know, place could use a coat of paint, new sign, new awning. And Mr. Jenkins, he's got a lot of gray in his hair. And has started wearing glasses.
Mr. J, I'm just going to get myself a cup of coffee. Is that all right?
Now, he had looked at you when you walked in and nodded politely, but kept going about his business and was turning away.
Yeah.
And then you speak to him the way that you speak to him, and his head whips around. He winces a second, you know. And he looks. And he says, well, I'll be. They said you were dead.
Who said I was dead?
You know, everybody. The police, the government.
Is there paper near me? Or calendar
in
or
in the rack where it always is. Boy, you need a shave and you're ripe.
I need your coffee, Mr. J. That's what I need.
You can have a coffee, but I'd like you to drink it outside.
Yeah,
I'll come out and talk with you and answer your questions, but
get the coffee. I don't think I'm going to buy a paper, but I want to look. Does the paper match what I saw?
No. This is a paper just like any normal paper, no huge, enormous headline. But it's dated November 1939. Please roll percentile.
You think? Oh, yeah. A well-deserved 82, sir.
Oh, interesting. Somehow, some way, something untoward has happened.
Yeah.
How did it happen? There's no way to reconcile this. It's not like one joke paper on top. There's a stack of last night's papers, you know, to be discarded, the evening edition, dated for yesterday, but 1939. Mr. Jenkins couldn't have aged.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a level of reality that's I can't refute at this point, Anthony.
Right. Okay. This is a fairly significant deduction of 3 points of sanity.
Yeah. So it's going to drop me from 55 to 52. All right. So now the scientist comes out.
So he's ushering you out. You know,
yeah, I'm going to go outside with him.
Paper cup of coffee. And
I slap some coins on the counter like I always do. I'm going to go down, sit, elbows on my knees, really savoring this cup of coffee. He comes out with me.
Pretty good. Yeah, he comes out.
Okay. It's been a good 8 years for old Mr. J. He's gotten good coffee. Yeah.
So what happened to you, boy?
Though Mr. J, I need to ask you a couple things. And I just need you to humor me.
I need you to stand upwind to me, or downwind to me. Downwind.
Yeah. The last time you saw me 8 years ago?
Yeah, that'd be about right. Yeah. No, there was a big investigation. Most people said that you'd run out on some debt. I'd like to say there was a big investigation, but here you are. So I guess you didn't deserve a big investigation. What'd you do? Just run away?
Trying to piece that together. To be honest with you.
Oh, and he has that look of people who've just come in contact with mental illness, and they don't know what to do about it.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what's going on, Mr. J. But I'm piecing it together. And it's good to see you. Do you remember when you last saw me? Did I say anything to you that was weird? Was it just our normal? I make fun of you, you make fun of me, and I take a cup of coffee.
Well, to be honest, you were drunk,
Yeah.
but you were clean.
Yeah.
Have you eaten anything?
I don't really know.
Well, how about I
Mr.
step
J.
inside for a minute and get you a hot dog? They're
That would
ready.
be great.
You
And I'll
just
stay out here.
you
Yeah.
just stay here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he steps inside and he goes over to where the hot dogs are. You can kind of see him through the window, but he has also picked up the phone.
Okay. I'm broke. So like the rich privileged part of me is just like, I'll just go get a hotel. Right. And I'll go and get some clothes. And I think that realization of maybe I shouldn't have tipped that guy as much as I did starts to sink in. Right. And I'm not sure I want to be here when whoever he's calling gets here. I don't think I think I have to go back to the house.
Someone's coming up
I'm
behind you again. That
okay.
like they're dragging a heavy bag, like a gear bag, like a body bag. Like you're dragging
Yeah.
it across gravel and grit on the cement sidewalk right behind you. It's like,
Yeah, I ran from it last time. I'm going to face it now. So I'm going to turn on and look at whatever this is.
it's an empty sidewalk.
Okay. So now we've got, I followed dad's path and now am I following mom's path? Is that now what's happening? I'm just going to push the door open before he finishes. Go, Mr. J, I appreciate it. I'm going to head to the airport. But
But
thank
just
you.
like, just look, it's okay.
Yeah, Mr. J, thank you. And I'm sorry, like for everything.
It's okay. Just wait. Some nice people are going to come and they're going to help you answer your questions and sort things
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, no, that's great. I'll wait right out here then.
Okay.
And I'm gonna try to turn the corner and get out of his sight line.
So that's easy enough to do. He doesn't move as fast as he
Yeah.
used to. He hasn't aged well in 8 years, and you get some good distance between you and the store by the time he gets around the corner, and you can hear him calling you, Ed, Ed.
Yeah, and this is now I'm going, well, shit, the next place they're gonna probably go is the house, because if I came to the corner store and he's gonna say I used to live there. I'm going to need some charity. And I think maybe the only person that will put up with me right now is Stella, who runs that speakeasy. I think that might be the only place I can go to right now. So that's where I want to go.
Okay.
Gonna
have to walk.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So as you're making your way there, feeling a little steadier. Hot dog would have been nice.
Yep.
But that sense, that overwhelming sense of I'm intoxicated. No, I'm inebriated. No, I'm almost incapacitated. That sense is fading. You are not sober. But you're also not walking like you're aboard ship.
Well, I'm in that zone that I always try to stay in, right? Which is I'm not sober, but I'm functional. And this is a window I try to live in right now in my entire life. I don't want to get sober. I don't like that feeling anymore. I want to stay functional. So if I can stay in this zone and make sure I'm pacing myself, and I know what's going to happen soon. Now that I'm in this zone, Anthony, that means I'm drifting towards a refill. Otherwise, I'm going to fall outside of this zone. So maybe that makes Stella make even more sense to me.
As you get closer to that neighborhood, it takes a minute for it to register. You have to pass a couple of them for it to register. And it's dawn, so they're closed. But you're passing bars, neighborhood taverns. There are wine lists on the street in front of restaurants. It takes a minute for it to register, but this is like it used to be before.
Okay, this is not going to work. Oh, what's the all right? I'm gonna go to where it was. Maybe she bought the paint store above her and turned that into an actual bar.
Yeah, there is a bar at that address, and there is like one room hotel style apartments,
right,
for rent above it. Short-term occupancy housing above it.
Go down and try to see if it's there.
Right. Where the speakeasy door, well, still is. The door is completely different. All been fixed up. The building is old, but it's in good shape. And it now says office. For deliveries, go to the back.
Okay. So that's not going to work either. What's next?
The door is ajar.
Okay. Just for kicks and giggles now at this point. Let's push it open.
Okay. Again, in that zone, after a couple of abortive pushes, you remember it opens out.
Okay. So I'll pull.
And it, scrapes across the concrete, in a way that just sends your senses screaming. And as soon as you open it, there's that scent, there's that smell, right? That smoky. As soon as you have contact with the inside of the door frame, there's that sudden sense, memory, overwhelming of the alcohol, of the smoke, of the close press of bodies, of the thrill of pretending like the police could come in at any moment, or you could upset some mobster at another table and be snuffed out, hail of gunfire. And for a second, the obvious hallway, well lit, clean, coat hooks, elongates and darkens and becomes the speakeasy.
Yeah, I'm walking right towards it then. As long as that is there, and that is the closest thing to an anchor I have right now.
Roll percentile.
59.
Huh. Again, you come crashing to your knees. But you are in the speakeasy.
Okay, that's good.
And you're heaving your guts out.
Okay, good. Okay, good. I'm just puking in the hall.
In the speakeasy. There are people all around.
Okay. I wanted to get out of here before this happened, and obviously I didn't. I very quickly wash everything that we've just done for the past hour in game time away from my brain. Now I've rationalized it to, wow, like, what is this doing to me? Am I making a scene? Has my perception changed at all? Is this helping?
People are laughing, right? A familiar face. You never really knew his name anyways, helping you up to your feet. So you want another one? And
No, buddy, I'm good. I'm sorry. I think I'm done. Kind of see
me too. But I'm gonna have one more to be sure.
Yeah, I think do that. I'm gonna see if Stella's behind the bar.
She is.
And I'm just gonna kind of give her, I'm sorry, look.
She does her I can't see you cigarette smoke.
Yeah. Deja vu. I'm gonna grab my jacket.
You're wearing it.
Perfect. Got my hat.
It's gone.
Okay. Not the weirdest thing that's happened. So that's fine. Am I in the inebriated, the world is moving phase again?
Nope, you're tempted by the invitation to drink,
Yeah.
I gotta make sure that I'm ready to leave by having one more.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try to leave. Okay. I'm gonna try to get out here because I need to confirm that I just had a bit of a freaking chemical episode. And I need to get outside of here now and see the cool November air and the paint store and walk 2 blocks to my house without boards on it.
Right. So, again, that narrow hallway is the proof to the lie that your mind is telling you that you're not drunk, as you brush against both sides of it in your endeavor to get down at the end. And the doorman looks at you. I thought you left. It makes more sense this time, and he's much more polite when he opens the door out and says, "See you tomorrow."
Yeah. Yeah. Probably in a couple hours, bud. Just need a change.
And you step through the door, but your foot doesn't hit the street. Instead, in some horrific way, like a side of meat through the mincer to make hamburger, you are compressed and extruded into wet darkness before congealing together on your back on a cold stone floor. Percentile dice.
$65.
Must be the drink. But at the same time, it can't be the drink. And as 3 more points are wiped away, you hear footsteps and a low conversation in a language that just won't resolve in your ears. But out of the corner of your eye, you can see the gentle bobbing, like the natural bobbing and play of someone's lantern, electric lantern, right, guiding themselves through the darkness. You can't see them, you can't see the figures, but you can see the beam of the flash as it's moving towards you, and you can see in silhouette stalagmites.
Okay.
And they get closer. The conversation ends. They get closer. The light begins to drift in your direction, and they begin to move in your direction.
Sitting up, trying to shield myself from it, going, hey, yeah, I'm over here. Dr. Edward Call Jr. I'm not quite sure where I am.
So you're illuminated in the light. The person with the light is holding it up very high so it can shine down upon you and not directly in your eyes. There are 2 individuals. One kneels down close to you, and just, the side of his face is illuminated by the ring of light around you. His head's at the same level as you. He's gotten down on one knee, his arm resting on the raised knee. He's just leaning a little bit into the light. You can see his pale face and his beard and the tattoos across his face. Not one continuous tattoo, a number of tattoos across his face. And he says,
"Yes, Dr. Edward Cole Jr."
Do I know you, buddy?
"No, but I am an acquaintance of your father. When we've come to this place looking for you,
What's this place? I don't know where I am, and I don't know who you are, and I don't know how I got here.
and I understand that would make you very angry and uncomfortable. But I need you to listen. Can you listen? And I will explain.
Yeah.
I hope you will remember. My hope you will remember. Your father, a man horribly misjudged by society, was a man of his word. She owes me something. But unfortunately, may I call you Ed? Unfortunately, Ed, he has died. And not well. But I am still owed. So I'd like to make you this offer, Ed. If you, as a loving son, should love your father and would wish him to be redeemed, I would like you to recover what he owes me and bring it to me. And if you can do that, I can restore him to you.
Okay. No idea what you're really talking about here, friend. Can we take a step back here and we'll talk about what dad owes you, and what I can do to pay you back. But I need to take a step back here because I, again, don't know who you are. I don't know where I am, and I don't know how I got here. So before I start making promises and figuring out whatever the hell dad owes you, I think I need to figure out those three things first.
You don't have much time, but I will try to help. Where you are is underground, in a place that no longer matters. How you got here? Bad luck. Yours. You probably, as a man of science, don't believe in magic. But maybe if you tell yourself that magic is simply science you do not yet understand, that'll make it easier. What your father owes me is a book. You'll find all you need to know about these books. The one book that I need from your father in the newspapers. The missing books of Albert Gavigan. Remember that name, Gavigan. Get his book. Find the book. Get out of the book.
Okay.
And I can restore your father.
That's great. What's the date
Today,
today? Yeah.
today is Wednesday. November 11th. 1931.
Okay.
Your strange travels are not over, Ned.
My strange travels. What do you?
When you return again to 1931, remember,
You said it was 1931. What are you talking about?
He stands.
stay safe.
And you are on your knees in the speakeasy.
Oh my God, this is the longest day. Okay. Jacket on.
Jacket's still on.
Okay. Hat's gone.
Hat's still gone. Your friend at
Got
the
it.
bar has his drink.
Okay.
Stella's still pretending she doesn't know you, never met you,
Yep.
wouldn't talk to you if you were on fire.
Okay. I'm slipping. I'm now there was something. This isn't rat gut. This is there's something 39. We've been dabbling with hallucinogenics and understanding mind altering drugs at this point. I probably have some familiarity with that. So now I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Somebody's given this to me. This was in the drink or something. Okay. And stand up. Do I have a pocket? I want something sharp. Do I have a pocket knife? Is there silverware somewhere close?
Pocket knife, sure.
Okay, I'm gonna pull out my pocket knife in the chair where I was before I fell to my knees.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna take my pocket knife and I'm just gonna just gouge an X on one of the legs. And in my place, I'm marking a time and a place right now by doing that, which may not matter, but I need that because now I'm trying to anchor myself. So I close my pocket knife. Don't even look at Stella. Go ahead. Try to leave again. Probably the last time I'm going to try to leave if I end up back here again. But I need to I don't like it here anymore. So I need to go.
Okay. Okay. Hallway is still difficult to navigate. Dorman's really confused this time. How do you keep getting back in here?
How long ago was it when I left? When did you last see me?
5 minutes?
Okay. Log that in my head. Don't take this the wrong way, buddy. I hope I don't see you again. At least not till tomorrow.
Yeah, me too.
Appreciate everything.
Opens the door. Can you step outside?
I'm going to step out on the concrete. But this time, if something goes sideways again, I don't think I'm going to be as surprised. In fact, I'm at this point anticipating it. So it's kind of the gingerly, let's do this one more time, just putting my foot out on the concrete as opposed to just walking out.
And you're on the sidewalk outside the speakeasy, and the guy's, oh, go home. He closes the door.
Okay. Take a second. Like waiting for the movie to start, right? So I'm just gonna stand there for a second. Okay. Go up to the street.
Okay.
Like watching a suspense movie. I am just waiting. If everything looks as it did 6 hours ago, 7 hours ago on the street, okay. Let's go north.
Everything looks normal.
Great.
Terrible. Awful.
Yeah,
People
no
sleeping
rush.
in alleys.
I'm sorry? Oh, people
sleeping
in
in alleys.
Okay. Take a left, head up north to the house. Let's get in the house. self-diagnosis of how I feel physically, that back to that decision point at the very beginning. Do I feel like my life is in danger right now based on my physical symptoms?
Objectively, if you were not you, right, if you were talking to a friend, you would definitely recommend going to the hospital.
Right.
But there are some questions that they're going to ask you which will call your mental health into doubt.
Yeah, and again, it's that addict brain, but being confined in any way, you want to avoid that, because then I lose agency and control of my ability to supply myself. So, all right, let's keep going. Let's get back to the house. Let's give this an hour or two. Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm paying a lot more attention as much as I can. So I'm looking around corners I wouldn't look. I would just walk past. Like really, really paranoid.
Yeah. So as you get close to the house, again, there's that sense of something immediately behind you.
I turn and look.
That dragging sound, but there's nothing there.
God damn it. Okay.
Take a couple of steps, and it's November and it's starting to snow. And then it's spring and it's mid-afternoon, same street.
Okay. Looking for something that's familiar to me.
Same street.
Yeah. Okay.
Just different season.
And I need to figure out whether I have now shifted months or 8 years. So I need to landmark myself to get some sense of time.
None of those fancy cars from 1939 are in evidence. No changes of business.
Okay. Not the worst case scenario then. So we're going home.
A few more steps. And it's a snowy night. Same street. See your house. Just up the block.
Part of me just wants to stand here and scream. Like, what the hell? But I know that's not going to do anything. I think the only thing that has gravity for me at this point is home. I just don't know. I have to find something comfortable. I have to find something familiar. I need to get out of this. And that's the only place I can go. It's the same place I retreat to every morning when I'm done.
Right. So key in the lock, open the gate, close the gate. Everything's as you left it.
Okay.
Empty. But not decayed.
Right.
Furniture's where it should be. Books, clothes, dishes, bottles.
I'm going to try to find my journal. My current journal. I've got shelves of them now. I try to find the journal I've been working on. That's where I record everything. It's where I treat myself. So I will write things down and then look at them later. And it's almost a conversation I have with myself in this journal.
Okay.
I'm going to go there. I'm going to get myself a little bit of a nip and sit down at the kitchen table. And I'm going to try to record everything I can remember about what I've been through.
Okay.
Just in as much detail as I can, what it felt like when it happened, what things smelled like, who I talked to, everything that didn't make sense, and just try to just, and I'm just journaling it out, right? And trying to do it as fast as possible because I've got a really bad feeling that time is not on my side, and I need to get this recorded, and so that I can look at it later and understand what the hell has been going on.
Right. So as you're writing, you can hear mostly quiet street. You can hear the bike of the paper boy, right, rolling down, and then you can hear the whipping sound of the paper as it hits the roof of the awning over the front door, as it does most mornings. So you can retrieve the paper by climbing up a ladder or by opening the window of the second floor room and getting the paper. The kid really wants to play for the Sox.
I think I chuckle a little bit just because that's super familiar, which I'm a huge fan of right now. I got a soft spot for that kid. I'm not going to go grab the paper right now because I'm afraid of what that's going to tell me, right? So I need to write shit down.
Right.
And I'm not going to stop until I do.
Okay. It takes some time.
Yeah. Okay, I'm done.
So when you're finished, you got it all written down, page after page of craziness.
Yep. Okay. Good. Close it. Tie the leather. Put it back there. Put the pen very neatly, meticulously next to it in perfect parallel alignment. Stand up. Take the little bit sip left that I have. I'm going to go upstairs to my bedroom. And I'm going to decide whether I hit the bed or I grab the paper. I don't know the answer to that yet. But I'm going upstairs.
Okay. Midway up the stairs, you are once again in the emptied house.
Okay.
But the very next step, you're in your house with your things.
Either way, I'm going upstairs.
Okay. Get to the top just as you left it.
Go to my room. Very common for me to throw my window open, grab the paper, hit the sack, have the paper there when I wake up so I can have it with a cup of Mr. J's coffee. I don't need that. So I'm not going to go to the window. I'm going to strip down, leave it on the floor. I'm going to get into bed.
Okay.
Because I think the only thing I need is sleep right now. You know what I'm really, really hoping for is to wake up and then I've got some figuring to do.
Okay. Sleep comes very easy.
Yeah.
But as you drift off to sleep, you can hear the voice of the tattooed man saying,
Remember,
and we'll close the curtain on first session with Edward Call
I
Jr.
miss playing with you, Anthony. We have gone way too long without playing together.
Has been a while.
Yeah.
So, do you have time for an after action report?
Please, yeah.
All right. So,
there's a lot of reasons that I love playing with you. I think one of the biggest reasons I like playing with you is that I think you and I, and I didn't start here. And I think you've been part of my journey here. I love playing in first person.
mhm,
I love being given room as a player. Knowing that I have the freedom that you can hip check me at any point, and you can interject with the reality. I like our rhythm. I like how we keep checking in with each other to make sure our fiction matches. You're very, very good at that, and I really enjoy that that rhythm. I had no trouble getting into Ed's head.
well, that's scary.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a fun place to be. And this is why I love this hobby. Like for me, this entire session was I'm here now. What would I do? And
Right.
then just making that decision. That's my favorite thing to do as a player when I'm a player. And I get to
Right.
do it as a GM too with NPCs, right? When I get to react, it's the same thing going, what would I do? And I try not to spend 20 seconds making a split second decision that the character would make. I try to make that split second decision, right?
Right.
No, it's great. It was really good, man. It was
So-
really good. I felt there. I felt that I was starting to put on his skin a little bit. You gave me just enough to be able to have a shell to step into with this
Right.
with the character.
How do you feel about pre-gens, generally speaking?
Honestly, it's funny because I used to not like them, and now I'm kind of a little bit in love with them. And in fact, I'm finding myself when I'm GMing now to lean more towards them a little bit. So I'm putting together, I'm going to run Knights Black Agent here with a husband and wife. They're going to be playing a couple. So instead of the 1-on-1 I did, it's now going to be 1 and 2.
Right.
Same universe, same everything. And they're not familiar with Knights Black Agents. They've never played a gumshoe system, never played that game before. And I just told them, just tell me about who you like. Tell me what you're thinking. I gave them a couple binary choices. Here's a list of kind of,
Right.
the archetypes and stuff like that. And I've built their characters for them. And I've just recently given it to them. And I've said to them, hey, if 2 points here makes more sense than 2 points there, that's fine.
Right,
Or
right.
if this is way off. But I like it. I like it. Now, I know there's a lot of people that don't like a fully formed character to be handed to them the way you've handed it to me. As a player, I love it. I really do. In fact, I think I like it even more than making my own character, because that's for me the challenge now as a player in this hobby is finding the character. And believe it or not, me being farther away from the creation of that character makes it even more exciting and more fun for me. So I love it.
That's good. Yeah. And like when I make a pre-gen, it's often so that I can have an inciting incident that matters to that character, and we both know it. And so I like to create enough information so we understand why the character's in that first situation of a scenario or whatever, and then it's all on you. Right? We understand why the character is the way they are because of their background or something that happened to them and that sort of stuff, and then we take them and run with them. Characters change and play, so I think that gives me a certain amount of freedom to create kind of unlikable characters.
Oh yeah.
And then they might rise to the situation, or they might get their just desserts. Who knows? It could wind up like Rick at the Cafe Americain.
Yeah, who knows, right?
Could wind up like Sam Spade.
Right, or the guy in the alley that I walked past, right? Yeah, there's I've long lost my love of heroic fantasy. I find these settings, these scenarios, these types of characters far more interesting. I don't play those games anymore, and I don't run those games anymore. Even I'm at some point here soon, I'm going to be running Sentinels of the Multiverse, a Supers game, and there's going to be no Superman, right? They're going to be it's going to be complicated, right? Because I just think that's more interesting. Nothing against anybody who loves to be the hero, loves to be, to live the hero fantasy.
We've got our own preferences. Yeah.
And that's great. And if that's what you want from this hobby, good Lord, there's more than enough out there for you. But that's not where I am. And both as a player and as a runner.
So this is ostensibly cosmic horror, not personal horror, right?
Yep.
Different kind of not necessarily schlock or gore or this kind of stuff. So this is a very trippy experience for young Edward Call Jr., which I liked what you latched onto in the middle. Like, this could be a hallucinogen. And this is definitely something that I think a character like this would pursue, right? What was I dosed with? And yeah.
That's part of the biggest challenge playing in a cosmic horror game, right? Because Craig knows this is a cosmic horror game.
Craig knows it's Call of Cthulhu,
yeah. At any point, the King in Yellow turns around and eats my face. But that's not Ed's reality. So I think one of the challenges as a player is you have got to, as long as you can, and as long as you're mechanically allowed to a large degree, you have got to make sense of this. You have got to square the circle as best as you can. And luckily, this character with a pharmaceutical background, early 30s, there's already experimentation. LSD exists. It's not where it ends up being 20 years later, but like, we're starting to realize there's things that can alter your mind. So yeah, I think that's the only way that Ed can make sense of what's happening right now. Is that I am under the influence of mind altering drugs, because I also don't want to admit the other possibility, which is
right.
I got alcoholism from dad, and I've got mental illness from my mother.
Right. So that's that's interesting.
Yep.
I think that's a good backdrop against to play the horrific, not horrific, Lovecraftian, not Lovecraftian. These scenes, how did they strike you?
Oh, they were great. Yeah, like I said, I wish I had better words for it. You'd think as a person who thinks he can GM, I would come up with better words. But like, the biggest thing that I have found playing with you, both as a fellow player and playing games that you run, is I dig the rhythm. I think there's a rhythm that I find when I'm playing with you in any capacity that I just really enjoy. The mechanics matter, but they're not in the way. They're not in my face. I feel like we have a certain shared desire to play and what that means for us. I think we and you run games different than I do, right? And you're a different player than I am as a player, but I think we agree there. I think there's enough of an overlap there that when you shoot me a message saying, hey, Craig, in 48 hours, do you want to play some one-on-one Call of Cthulhu? Like, yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
And I don't stress about what it's going to be. I did not look at Dr. Call that much until about 15 minutes before you and I started talking. We
Right.
had another
He's just a
15
couple
minutes.
of lines. Yeah.
Yep. We spent 15 minutes where you kind of let me know where we were. And then I don't know, let's start playing.
Right.
And if we need to pause play because things are confusing or something doesn't make sense, or I need a little bit more information, we can do that too. But I enjoy that.
In a situation like this, where the character can't even rely on walking through a door.
Yep.
And knowing what the next step is going to be, I think there's the potential for the player to feel like their choices don't matter, or like they don't actually have any agency, right? Because the palette keeps being shifted, you know. And,
so my recommendation there is don't play this genre. Don't play horror, because part of horror is losing some of that agency. So for me, Anthony, I sign up for that. If you did that to me, while we're playing Apocalypse World, that would frustrate me, because that's not what I signed up for, right? I did not sign up for losing agency when I play Apocalypse World. When I play Call of Cthulhu, then I am accepting the fact that part of this game is going to be my choices being limited. And I don't think they ever not matter. But there is a shell game that's going to be happening, and there's going to be times where I know my character is going to get frustrated, and I, as a player, might even get a little frustrated. That didn't happen this session, but that's part of this genre. So I'm very familiar with it. But I would not be okay with it in a
different game. Yeah. And, yeah. Cool.
I feel like I'm sorry, just real quick, but I feel like, it gives me some neat constraints for creativity too, though, right? So we think of loss of agency as a bad thing. It's got a bad connotation to it, but it's constraints, right? Which can be amazing because
color in between the lines.
Yeah, you have to like it pushes a level of creativity. And it forced me, those constraints that you put on me forced me deeper into Ed. And forced me deeper to try to figure out what is Ed going to do, because everything I'm doing is changing, and it's not working, and it reduces me down, and I get almost primal at one point during the game today, where I was just like, I have got to anchor something, and that's the X on the chair leg, and that is that's getting to bed, and that's writing everything down in the journal. That came out of nowhere for me, but I was just like, okay, Dr. Call,
right,
you're gonna have to sort through this at some point. How are we going to do this? And I think that I feared that I would go to bed and wake up and not remember this.
Right. And obviously he's a meticulous person. The very first thing you did with him was, check his clothes, and were mortified about the condition of his clothes, and kind of that self-loathing of I'm here in this lowbrow environment again, kind of thing. But the notebook is neatly tied, and the pen is, there's a precise place for the pen, and everything has to be recorded, and there's many journals, going back over many years. So of course, this very careful scientist, the student of the mind, right, would have these personality traits. So it was really nice to see them to come into real play and have meaning. And we also are starting to see a shadow of why young Edward Call, isn't practicing, right? When I put the pre-gen together, and when we talked about him, I didn't think about self-loathing. Right. I had other things in mind, and I was curious what you were going to do with that detail. He's been back for about a year living off his trust fund, but he hasn't gone into practice. I'm really curious what would make sense to you as the player. So it was very nice to see that detail.
Yeah, and the big detail that caused all of those other decisions that I made was the alcoholism. Like, as soon as I knew that about me, then that also that answers a lot of other questions, right?
Sure.
So the social status fall combined with the alcoholism,
That's right. Pitied, not respected, and then no
well,
longer pitied. Just
addicts are liars, and the first person they lie to is themselves. And I think that's where Ed is. He has come up with a lot of really convincing excuses to be right where he is now, which is on a daily basis, not working, getting drunk, and living that routine, because that allows me to chemically take care of myself and allows me to continue to lie to myself, because yeah, I'm going to pay that bill tomorrow, but I don't have to do it right now.
right.
And that's how they function.
And maybe something like, well, I could practice, but I'm not good for anybody right now.
Yeah, or you know what? I'll do that tomorrow. Like that's the biggie, right? Like that's the
Yeah.
classic, which is your priorities are such a close second to the one priority when you're
Right.
in that state as a human being.
So this is a first session, right? And I would not say we're playing on easy mode. You know, I kept pulling the rug out from underneath you. It's not like you've received a letter from Aunt Matilda saying you've inherited an estate. Why don't you go check it out? It's not that kind of it's not a mystery. You're not in a mystery to be solved. You're an experience to be had, and starting out, it's not a pleasant experience, right? And so yes, either you have come across some kind of chemical agent which is messing with your senses, you're going mad, or you actually traveled uncontrollably through time and space.
Yep. And I think, Anthony, the only thing, assuming that I wake up tomorrow morning, the only thing that I'm going to do is now I need to figure out whether these books are real. Because I have answers by answering that, right?
Yeah.
So if it turns out none of this, there's no trace of this does not exist, that furthers this theory. And I'm going to be very scientific if I'm allowed to going forward to try to parse through this. Because I also understand under these types of drugs that there's a basis for those hallucinations, right? That there's, I believe it in my work that your dreams are random firings of the neurons, but there's meeting, and there's the Freudian meetings in those, and let's dig into those. And so if these are in fact all just me getting effed up on hallucinogenics, then I need to figure out what was the core of that, what was the basis of that. The only real detail I have tomorrow morning is those books.
Cool. So you have something to do. You have a reason to play again. Yes. You've got something to do with the character, and that, you know, when I allow Call of Cthulhu to get as weird as this was, especially right out, I mean, because you were into the weirdness within 5 minutes of starting play, and it wasn't minor weirdness, you know. That's my concern. It's like a juggling actor. It's a risk. You know, is it going to pay off and be enjoyable, or is it just going to be, yeah, well, you know, that was weird and everything, but I didn't feel like I could do anything, and I don't know what to do, and
And there's a little bit too, Anthony, where me as the player has to say, I'm playing this, right? So there is a little bit of meta happening there where, it is not it is not crazy to think that Ed might have tried to have killed himself during this process, right? Like Ed's not doing well, right?
Right.
And but
or submitted himself for psychiatric care.
exactly going, you know what? You're exactly right. That's exactly where I need to go, Mr. J. Right. And that's okay too. There's no guilt in that to say that I'm also here to play this game, right? So
Yeah.
and that's squaring the little bit of the squaring of the circle too. And I really appreciate players that don't fight that. But and this is, and that's a fine line of that meta, because I like suboptimal choices if they make sense.
They make sense.
Right. What I don't like is use a classic cliche going, I realize you just told me about the kids that were kidnapped by goblins, but I'm just going to stay here in the tavern because that sounds dangerous, and I don't think that I would want to do that.
Right.
Like,
why would I do that?
What are we doing?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. At a certain point, sometimes even in play, it makes sense to call the police or something along those lines, and recognizing that isn't always easy. And if every detail the game master is giving you seems insane, it's like at a certain point, do I check myself out to see if I should I go to the hospital?
And another thing too for players, and for me, is when the GM says the door is ajar, play, right? Am I saying that walking away from that is bad play? No, but
no, it's just different play.
It's just different play. But like, I feel very comfortable when the GM is my reality in my surroundings, to pick up on those details. And now the GM says the door is open and I'm being chased, and that doesn't make sense, right? I'm not going to do something completely out of character because the GM mentions the jar is open. But like, when I saw my house was boarded up, I was like, okay, I can't go in there. And then you give me the detail that you could go in there. That's what we talked about at the very beginning. That's us checking in with each other on the reality, right?
Yeah, am I being clear? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought the boards meant you can't go in. So yeah.
Right. And that's great.
To like look behind the screen a little bit. You really wanted to talk with somebody, right? Mm-hmm. We don't have Stella on the character sheet or whatever, but you've made this walk back and forth to Speakeasy many times. It's somewhere that you can go, somewhere that you want to go, even if it's not there anymore, kind of thing. It makes perfect sense to go there. So you go around, all these details are different, and now it's a real legitimate bar. You can see that, but upstairs, that's different. Well, what about the actual Speakeasy entrance? That's different. So I'm willing to be an unreliable narrator.
Yes.
So I could say, well, you're shocked or something like that, which I'm not a huge fan of. So instead I describe some stuff. What did you notice? It says office now, and there's some other signs on it. Go around back or whatever. So there's a moment of shock. Well, that didn't work. I guess I have to leave. But the unspoken implication I was getting from you is, but I really wanted to go in there. So that's telling me that the character is looking.
Yep.
And so then we reveal the detail. Well, the door's ajar.
Yep.
If you had been angry, right? If the character's like, so then we wouldn't have that detail presented to them. Yeah. And the thing that I was not disappointed by, but it was like, I wanted to be Stella. But like, there's no way she's going to want to talk to you. I mean, you're
No,
covered in vomit. You're drunk out of your mind, and she's just like pretending not to know you. But if you'd gone, right, the charming, not rich but not poor, right?
Yep.
He is a doctor. Maybe someone could clean it. Maybe I could clean him up. I mean, there was,
well, see, that's what's
you know,
cool, right? Because you make a snap decision of Stella's reaction in the same way I
right,
talk about making a snap decision as my player, right? Because you are playing characters as much as I'm playing characters. Her reaction makes total sense to me. And then this is where I'm trying to stay inside of Ed. And the one thing that has been revealing the way he's revealed himself to me is this shame.
shame.
And
Yeah. So of
and
course
that
he
became
crawls out.
that became a big thing for me very, very early, and it was driven by the detail of having the sick on me. I think if I had not had that detail, then I think I would have done things a little bit differently.
Sure.
And when I say I mean Ed.
Yeah.
But it was just everything was, I'm sorry, thank you, I'm sorry. Like, and that's the dichotomy of somebody who has fallen, right?
Yeah.
Who's still lying to himself that he's at a certain status in society and in life, even though the reality is he's not. And he is trying to reconcile that, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah. How
and
did I end up like
that's
this?
super fascinating as a player to have a character in that situation.
Yeah,
It's cool. It's very,
it's
very
cool.
cool. But yeah, I think that if that shame thing had not revealed itself, I think we definitely would have been more of a take charge.
Right. He's a competent
Yep.
character with a lot of, very valuable to society skills. This guy should be, sitting on top of the world. Maybe not in this particular economic period,
Right.
but yeah. So it's there, but for the grace of God, go I kind of thing.
And the best compliment I can always give as a player, and it's also the best compliment I can give as a GM to players, which is it all made sense.
Even as crazy as it was, it all made
Yeah,
sense.
but all the choices I made sense to me. The way the world reacted to me made sense to me. And as a GM, where I'm at my happiest is when I believe my players.
Right.
Right. And at some point I want to dig into what that means for me, but that's the word that I've been using a lot lately. And the compliments that I give at my tables on my channel is just like, I'm like, I believed you.
Right. You
I
didn't
believed
question
you.
why the thing happened in character. Yeah.
Nope. No, you made a choice and I believed it, and let's go.
So the gift I got today was Mr. Jenkins. So I briefly got to play as Mr. Jenkins, and I got the sense of this, the sense of shame, right? So what is it like for Ed to get his coffee from this guy every day, his morning coffee? So I'm wondering, what time of morning
Right.
is this coffee? Is it when he's on his way home? Or is it somewhere around dinner time?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
lots of interesting questions. But it's happening in ostensibly 1939. So it's an older Mr. Jenkins who hasn't, right? So he's angry, and he's happy, and he's confused,
Yep.
and offended.
Yeah, and I believed him too, right? Because I believed that he would be like, oh, because I'm sure there would be a part of Mr. Jenkins that would be like, oh, holy shit, you're alive.
Right.
Like, that's amazing. And I'm happy for that. And what the hell's happened to you, son? Like, what have you, I knew who you are. So I believe what I'm seeing in front of me right now,
Right.
which is you hitting rock bottom. So I believed all of that, and the kindness that he offered makes sense. And it was a kindness to pick up the phone.
Right. Yeah. And at the same time, just that moment as Ed is running away, and he's too old now to chase you.
Yeah.
Right. That gave me some feels.
Good. Yeah. Yeah. And especially when you think about it from Ed's perspective of, again, you heard me say it in play where like, I needed an anchor. Like when everything is changing and the tiles on the floor are shifting, you have to anchor on something. You have to find something you can hold on to. And I was just like, okay, Jenkins, right? Like I needed a person, because at that point in play, there was no other people. There was shapes, there was abstracts, right? And when I realized that I was not going to be able to anchor at home, because that has changed and that's different. I have to, at that point, I knew as a player, I got to find somebody. Ed needs to find somebody to either validate it's 1939 or to bring me back to where my mind is.
Yeah.
And it was cool. It was cool when I woke up again the first time from the first episode and ended up back in the speaking. I really liked that. Because it gave me a way to rationalize what I had just experienced.
Yeah.
So that was very cool. It was like, okay, now I can go, I'm tripping balls. Right.
Yeah.
Not that time is a flat circle and it doesn't matter and there's a spiral on the wall.
Right. Not that stuff.
Right.
Yeah. And there's a lot of intention, right, going on. Like some players, me included, find it disruptive to have to make up a location or a person or whatever. Like when the game master says, tell me the name of the bar, or that kind of stuff, because that's communication from the player, who is the game master, to me, the player of my character, telling me, okay, now please invent something. So if I'm in the mode of playing to experience the life of the character, in character, as I call it, then that function absolutely denies me the thing that I'm there to play for.
Yep.
However, I have experienced many times playing in character as character, where my imagination of their environment and their life and who they are, not because of conscious choice, but just because it makes sense, starts to fill in people. So it didn't take any particular effort on my part to make this person up.
Good. And
they might come up in normal conversation, and then I would be hoping that the game master would be listening and recognizing that this NPC exists. So this is our first time to play with these characters.
Yep.
This time, and I've given you a pre-gen, so that we're on kind of like shaky ground. Can I make somebody up? Can I not make somebody up? At the same time, I'm doing things like intentionally not describing names or real details of the people in the speakeasy.
Yep.
Intentionally painting a picture of, we don't know who these people are. These are, you're there with most of them every night, drunk out of your mind. You recognize them all on sight. Yep. You don't know who anybody is.
It's a whole lot of, hey, buddy.
Exactly. So he is kind of isolated. He's fallen. There are no kind shoulders to turn on until we get to our rock bottom of, I can't get into my house. Yep. Right. And so you ask me, is there someone I know? And so I turn that question back to you. That is an excellent question, right?
Yep.
Who do I know? Who do I know? And
that's the opening of the door that you give that, right? And that's different than what you're saying, the disruptive of going, tell me their name, right? And now let's pull you out of this and let's world build a little bit and go back in again.
Right. I want to reflect the question back to you.
Yeah. And it's a very good technique, Anthony, a very, very good technique. And Again, though, and this is where, this is stuff that works because we've played together before. I knew I could say there's a corner store, and I knew I could say Mr. Jenkins, because if that disrupts the reality of what we're doing, I know you can hip check me. Go, no,
Right.
there's not really a corner store there, Craig. And I know because of the
closed.
trust, right?
Yeah.
The trust in that we play together. I know I have the freedom to create a Stella or introduce a Stella. I didn't create her. I introduced her, introduced to Mr. Jenkins. I
Right.
know I have that freedom because I'm also willing to get hip checked on that.
Right.
When again, where we're checking in with each other
Right.
on that,
That's
on
a
that
real
shared
part of
reality.
play, I think.
It is
Yeah.
very much so.
And that might be very easy for some players. It might be very difficult for other players. And how much should I create, and how much should I explain in the moment?
Yes.
And
I used to
being
not be
willing.
comfortable with that, Anthony. I used to
Yeah,
not
sure.
be comfortable. I used to not be comfortable as a GM. I felt I had to paint everything
Right.
for my players. And one thing that has developed to me in the last 2 years as a GM is feeling far more comfortable with there being potentially a dissonance between my theater and their theater,
Right.
and feeling comfortable with going, okay, that's okay until it matters. And then we need to reconnect again, and we need to check in with each other. I've gotten far more comfortable with that, and that has created much better play for me, because it's less me talking and me
Well, yeah.
feeling this need to paint the entire picture.
Because there's no way you can keep up
Yeah.
with all the details of
Yep.
of reality. And imagination is much faster than the spoken word. So at a certain point, you're not feeding their imagination, you're retconning their
Exactly.
imagination. So what is important? Get that out.
Yep.
What is the context? Get that out. And then trust them to imagine as they can.
Yep. No, completely agree. Completely agree. And
But,
it's you see that mechanized in a lot of story style games,
Yeah.
that shared world building and things like that. That's not new. That's just that's just mechanizing a certain style of play. I don't think you
Yeah.
necessarily need mechanics to be able to have that, because I like that. I like that. I mean, I want to play too when I'm running a game, and that lets
Yeah.
me play too.
So that's one of the things I like about Call of Cthulhu is you can have a slower pace because you're kind of hoping for a build, and people don't want a sanity check every 5 or 10 minutes because it'll be the world's shortest game.
Yep.
Because you managed to fail all of them.
I did a hell of a job.
Yeah. So there's all of that, but I like that much of the game is interpersonal communication. It's investigation, so it's go somewhere, and most of the time interact with people who are there and ask questions and be asked questions, and act, react, and interact.
Yep.
So that gives me a lot more opportunity to play, and sometimes I have a character made, like you as Edward or Ed have a trust fund. So I have imagined the estate manager who is administering that trust fund, and what they might be like.
And that's what I tell you, that's where I almost was. It's funny you say that, because I almost went there when I was really at that point.
What happened to my house?
Well, yeah, where I was like, okay, I have no money. I'm waking up in an alley. 8 years have passed. I've run away from Mr. Jenkins. If I had gone to that speakeasy and had opened that door and it was just an office, then I was already starting to think about what the hell is Ed going to do in the scenario. And the only thing I need to find the bank. right? I need to
Right.
find who's in charge of this trust, and does it still exist? Because I am broke now,
And it's
or
eight
am I truly
years
going
after my disappearance, so they've probably
exactly?
declared me dead already.
Yeah, yeah, and that so you keep that person in your back pocket because I have a feeling he may come up again, or she may
Yeah.
come up again, because that again, you're starting to slowly resources are being taken away from me, which is I obviously love, because this is my favorite genre of play.
Yeah. Cool.
All right,
Well,
brother.
thanks for joining me. I hope we can arrange it again soon.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that would have to happen to prevent me from wanting to play, so I'm always here, and I will always make time for it with you, man.
Wicked. All right. Take care.
Cheers.
Runeslinger.